This is Get Inspired with Lyeese. Thanks for joining me. Today's topic, stranger danger. How strange is it for us to live with a person and yet we have not come to know them? Marriage begins as a lifelong commitment. However, some not really focusing on the lifelong part. And how can you spend a lifetime with someone that you're not making a priority to get to know on a daily basis? There are a great deal of firsts that come before getting to know them, which usually creates stranger danger. Let's define a stranger: one who is strange, foreign, or unknown, one not belonging to the family or household, a guest, a visitor. Let's define danger: hazardous, exposing to loss, unsafe, full of risk. As we are pushing through the demands of daily living and life management, it is so easy to allow those demands to become our priority and the majority of our focus. Because of those demands, we may often forget about the person we live with, the person we should be sharing our moments with, the person we are committed to, since our focus is placed on other things that are really not as important as we make them. We end up exposing our marriage to great loss and hazardous conditions, which forcefully leads to a foreign relationship. Let's look at this a little further. Perhaps you've spent years in a marriage focusing on raising your children, building your career, or on your lifelong goals. All of these things are great, by the way, and they matter. However, they are secondary to the commitment you've made with your spouse. A pastor once told my husband and I that the family is the husband and wife, and children join into the family. They do not make up the family. What that meant to us is that the foundation of the family begins with us. If the foundation is disconnected, then how can it hold up once the children leave the nest, you retire from your career, or you accomplish your goals? How will you relate to your spouse after the completion of it all? The relatable time is not at the end, it starts at the beginning. Get back to the place where you can get to know and spend time with your spouse. Leave those second, third, and fourth things in their proper place and do not allow them to supersede your foundation. Refrain from making your spouse your stranger. Who really wants to lay down with a stranger? You are not just visiting your spouse, but you are building a lifetime of togetherness. And when all of the secondary things surpass, what will sustain the marriage? How many unresolved issues of the marriage have taken a back seat because your secondary priorities were placed first? Make your marriage the first priority in order to nurture and feed the emotional and physical connection that is needed. If your spouse is a stranger to you, then you are creating a dangerous relationship. It should be a continual getting to know him or her because over time we all evolve and change. This will help strengthen the relationship, allow for more understanding, and create a more in tune balance. A stranger danger relationship can lead to four major issues. 1. Divorce. You do not know enough about your spouse to be interested in saving the marriage because your biggest commitment has been your children, your career, and or your goals. 2. Infidelity. Your spouse hasn't taken the time to know and learn you. However, someone else has and now has your full undivided attention. 3. Loneliness. You always feel like you're in a relationship by yourself because it lacks the time, attention, and commitment you need. 4. Lack of intimacy. You've stopped sharing in bedroom moments together because of how divided the relationship has become, perhaps because of a lack of connection. Furthermore, you and your spouse refuse to sleep in the same bed. Examine your situation. Where do you fit on this scale? I would especially like to put emphasis on the infidelity part. Don't get caught up in living an adulterous life. Proverbs 5 gives us a warning against adultery. The Good News Bible version reads, "Pay attention, my child, and listen to my wisdom and insight. Then you will know how to behave properly, and your words will show that you have knowledge. The lips of another man's wife may be as sweet as honey, and her kisses as smooth as olive oil. But when it's all over, she leaves you nothing but bitterness and pain. She will take you down to the world of the dead. The road she walks is the road to death. She does not stay on the road to life, but wanders off and does not realize what is happening. Now listen to me, my children, and never forget what I am saying. Keep away from such a woman. Don't even go near her door. If you do, others will gain the respect that you once had, and you will die young at the hands of merciless people. Yes, strangers will take all of your wealth, and what you have worked for will belong to someone else. You will lie groaning on your deathbed, your flesh and muscles being eaten away, and you will say, "Why would I never learn? Why would I never let anyone correct me? I wouldn't listen to my teachers. I paid no attention to them, and suddenly I found myself publicly disgraced." Be faithful to your own wife, and give your love to her alone. Children that you may have had by other women will do you no good. Your children should grow up to help you, not strangers. So be happy with your wife and find your joy with the woman you married. Pretty and graceful as a deer. Let her charms keep you happy. Let her surround you with her love. Why should you give your love to another woman, my son? Why should you prefer the charms of another man's wife? The Lord sees everything you do. Wherever you go, He is watching. The sins of the wicked are a trap. They get caught in the net of their own sin. They die because they have no self-control. Their utter stupidity will send them to their graves. The above areas are Satan's tactic to drive a wedge in what God has created and designed. Unfortunately, and not to give him any credit, but he is successfully doing this daily as husband and wives are growing further and further apart each minute. Do not allow him to succeed in your marriage. This is not God's desire or design for you. Your spouse is not a visitor in your home. One side of your bed space should not be vacant. You are exposing your marriage to risk and substantial loss if you are not making a conscious decision and physical effort to get to know him or her daily. Reconnect and set time daily for small talks about what the other desires at this stage in their life. Forgive one another. Pray together. Lay together. Your spouse is not your roommate. Guard your relationship so the outside world cannot separate it. The two of you are the core of the family.
Here at Get Inspired, we have a prayer list called 100 Blessings from God in efforts to pray for others and see the manifestation of God's blessings through your prayer request. When prayers are answered, we add another prayer as they are requested with the opportunity to pray for hundreds. If you desire prayer, please drop your request in the comments below or send us an email at getinspired.thejourney@gmail.com. This is Get Inspired with Lyeese. Thanks for joining me. Be safe, blessed, and prosperous.